Oh, hello, everyone. Today I'm super excited because I have one of my dear friends, a guest, who is just going to blow our minds with topics of all sorts of delicious, I don't want to ruin it, delicious little nuggets. So, this is my dear friend, Evelyn Levasseur. She is a coach, a speaker, she's a podcaster, and she is doing the most for women everywhere. Do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Evelyn Levasseur. I am a wife, mother, but first and foremost, a woman who loves women and just knowing that the future's ours and we need to rise together.
How'd you get started? Like in this, on this business journey, all the things.
Well, I started out as a middle school English teacher and I was good at it, but I felt like I was not living as the human I was supposed to be. Burned out, exhausted, giving to everyone else, coming home and my family getting the last 1% I had left in me. Yeah, the scraps. I was cranky, snappy, irritated. And then I had been part-time doing some fitness coaching around nutrition, personal training. And that's when I had realized that my clients got beautiful results when we worked together. And as soon as we stopped working together, they tended to rebound. Almost all of them, almost all the time. And it was because we were focused entirely on the outside, the body, the food, not at all addressing how we got there, why we feel that way, why we spend so much of our time trying to maintain this weight that we think we're supposed to be. And I recognized it for them because I saw it in myself. And that's when literally everything changed. I left teaching. I stopped coaching just in the fitness industry. And I really started changing the way I thought, the way I showed up, the way I saw myself and saw the impact to my marriage, the way I speak to my children, the way I show up with my friends, and literally revamped my entire coaching perspective from there.
I love that because I have found very similar things in the money realm. And I'm also somebody who, if I counted off the amount of diets that I tried, that I maybe got some sort of result, and then the exact opposite happened 12 minutes after I finished that diet or whatever else. Well, I don't know what would happen, but if I counted it, it would be annoying to everybody. So we'll not do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like how much time, money, and energy did we all invest in like every different program, every different like fix, every different fad to end up back at square one every single time? And then we say, I should try another program instead of taking that money, that time, that energy and saying like, I should figure out why I keep coming back here.
Yes. And from my perspective, I think that the diet industry, that the obsession with thinness and youth is just some fucking patriarchal nonsense. And it's a tremendous waste of time and energy. Because it's like, girl, if you're lucky enough to get wrinkles, if you're fortunate enough to get a gray hair, what are we even talking about? It annoys me that men are just allowed to age and women like we're supposed to be it's so creepy. We're supposed to be like perpetually like 24.
Right.
And thin and 24.
And not opinionated and agreeable and nice and, gentle and not powerful or outspoken. Like those are all the things that make us good, supposedly.
All right, so let's just smash this patriarchy. Tell us some of the things that are important to help, because I would imagine that many of the listeners, I mean, I feel like most of the people listening are probably in their 40s, 50s. I feel like the damage of the 90s, the damage of the early 2000s to our psyches is so legit. Like, do you remember when they called Bridget Jones fat? Do you remember when Renee Zellweger was wearing that little bunny suit and you could tell that she had flesh, and then she was on the cover of magazines. They were saying like, she's so fat. And I was like, and I remember being a kid and being like, she's so fat. Mm-hmm. And that just landing in my psyche in perpetuity.
And I think in not even knowing it, but absorbing it.
Yeah.
Like carry that I need to look a certain way. I need to stay a certain size. I need to look at other women with either envy or judgment. But I really think like if you really just dig into that, you start to see how it's kind of intentional to keep us feeling that way. It is intentionally created. The whole system of diet culture, yes, patriarchy, yes, misogyny, is all on the same premise that women who are rooted and connected and just self-loving, right? They're powerful. Like a woman, the conversation that I sit and have with you is very different than a woman who is still stuck in like body obsession and like that superficial, I have to look that way because when I look that way, I'm going to feel a certain way. But the woman who recognizes like all that shit was taught to me to keep me controllable and malleable and out of my own element. Like the woman who recognizes that, she becomes a force. And I think that's the thing that we're fighting is being able to look at the patriarchal standards and the misogynistic commentary and realize like every time I shit on myself, every time I look in the mirror and I'm disgusted, I am taking a part in that role. I am part of the patriarchy. I am being misogynistic toward myself.
Yeah, that's like a tough pill to swallow a little bit. So what are some of the things that we can, well, actually, let's start with how does somebody know that they're in this like body obsession place? Like because for me, I will tell you, I had to do a lot of work on myself to even see what we're talking about. Like I just thought it was totally normal to have a weird relationship with food, to do restriction, right? I'm like, not work out from like a place of like movement and joy and activity, but like to work out from a place of like self-punishment and like, oh, I ate these things, so now I should do this. And just all of this was so normal to me that it took me a really long time to be able to even see it. So what are some of the ways that like, if somebody's listening and this is maybe an earlier conversation, how would they know that like what is diet culture?
Diet culture is the very thing that makes you keep thinking there's something wrong with you so that they can sell you the fix, right? You have cellulite, we're going to sell you creams. We create a narrative around big bodies being bad. We equate it to lazy. We judge the people who are not small. And then we get all the celebrities to start taking like Ozempic, right? Because that's going to make you feel wonderful and small. The diet culture in itself is just an entire system of marketing, to be perfectly honest, marketing that gets in your head from when you're little and just sticks with you. And the underlying thought that you carry with you always is that my body is something to be fixed. I don't think we know that we're participating in that. I don't think we're even aware of it. But even from when you're little, those daily things that you notice about your families, like in my house, it was if you sit at the dinner table, you don't get up till your plate is empty, right? And the lesson that I learned as a child, obviously unintentionally, but the lesson that I learned was I can't trust myself when I'm full. I have to trust the adult. They know better than me, therefore I need to be quiet and do what I'm told. So that was the first, like the introduction of ignoring myself and my body cues. And then add on the layer of if you want dessert, you got to finish your dinner. Right? So now you start creating that thought in your mind, I have to earn these sweets. Therefore, now sweets have value.
Yeah, all right. That's so funny when you say it like that. The sweets have higher value to the kids. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. And even think about it when your family took you out to celebrate and it was like, we're going to celebrate. We're going to go get ice cream. We're going to go get dessert. Like every family celebration is centered around food. And then you have cultural implications. You have family commentary. Like I remember being little and my grandma would serve me like this heaping pile of food. And if I didn't finish it, all the aunts, my grandma would just comment about how I wasn't being respectful, how I didn't love her food, and that meant I didn't love her. And it was like, this pleasing had to come into it too. I don't want abuela mad at me, so let me just eat all the food and then be so uncomfortable in the process, right? So you don't know that you're participating in it because you think you're just doing what's right in the moment with and for the people that you love.
Yes. Yes. All right. And then I'll tell you, so in my family, it was that, but it was also this. So it was like you're supposed to eat all your food, but also you're not supposed to be fat. So it was just this weird, it was like I hear what you're saying, and I remember my grandmother and my mom and my aunts all were on this like cabbage soup thing for a minute. Which actually the cabbage soup is just vegetable soup. It's actually fine. It's a delicious soup, but I'm just like, there's probably like 47 calories in the whole pan.
Did you ever watch them drink Slim Fast?
Yeah. I remember the ad for Slim Fast with the with the tape, with
Oh
the
yeah.
like measuring tape. Yeah. Even the can wasn't skinny enough.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So I mean, when you think like nobody was telling you, some people would say directly. I definitely got like a lot of direct commentary, but so much of the lessons were indirect. Just absorbing, right? Like you're watching, you're observing, you're absorbing, and you're noticing all the things of like the women cook all the dinner. They eat last. They complain about feeling uncomfortable. The whole time that they're eating, they're making comments like, I really shouldn't be eating this, or I'm doing too much, or, and it's not like they're saying, Bree, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be eating too much. You shouldn't want this. But when you see the adults that you love and respect living that way, there's a part of you that absorbs the thought, this is normal. This is just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that a huge amount when I started really doing my work, I had a lot of self-hatred to clean up. And I think a huge amount of it just really, really came in those subtle ways that it's just normal to look at yourself and feel disgusted. It's just normal to want to be different. It's just normal to like have zero sorts of acceptance, right? And for me, when I started to really examine these mental structures of like the diet culture and the because I'm bringing this up. I have Evelyn as a guest here because when I started to see just the amount of damage that had done to me, and I'm talking actual damage, not just like these little tangly spots in my mind. I mean, I don't even know how many thousands of dollars, how much failure there was in all of these things. And for me, it was really painful. And also like I'm hot. Like I'm hot. I'm luscious. Like I'm beautiful. Like, it's so weird to me. And I'm like so much I actually really also believe that so much of the extra weight that I do carry comes from the story, right? Because the body's a manifestation of the mind. So it's like I've been telling myself I'm fat since I was like 6 years old. Like literally, I look back at pictures of me when I was a teenager and I was like freaking top notch, like
Yeah.
a great looking human. And I remember though looking in the mirror when I was like 15, 16 and just being like, I'm so fat. Like I am so atrociously like obese. And it
Mhm.
was just like, and now that there's like nothing even wrong with being fat in the first place. It's such a mind fuck, all
Yeah.
of this. And it's just the thing that hurts my feelings about it is that so many people I talk to are waiting till they're the right size or they're waiting until they're this to live their lives. Like I've had clients finally hit their financial goals, they can afford to take the vacation and now they're like, I can't be in a bathing suit. And I'm like, what are we even talking about? Like how many years do you think you got with these kids?
Mhm.
Wear the bathing suit. Nobody cares. Like you're the only one that or people not showing up in their business because they don't want to be online like with the truth of what they look like. And it's that to me is so it just hurts my little heart.
I think it also, and I've been kind of sitting with this lately, like it makes me so sad to think about, I turned 47 this year, and how much of my life did I spend as like this itty bitty, shrunken, uncomfortable version of myself when Evelyn today knows like I am light, I am love, I have so much to offer other people. And I spent my life shrinking that down and shutting it up and actually not even acknowledging or accepting that it lived within me because I had to look the part. I had to have the smaller body. I needed you to think that I was beautiful so that maybe one day I could believe it too. I needed that.
Yeah. And that's just like so good because when we talk about time, money, and energy, it's just so much time, money, and energy goes like when you're spending your money essentially on not liking yourself, your energy is going there, your time's going there. And it's like all of that is rooted in just such a personal sense of diminishment. And that diminishment doesn't like it's in your flesh, it's in your bank account, it's right. Like it's funny, I teach law of increase and law of decrease, right? So it's like if we take our attention and we put our attention towards acknowledgement, appreciation, love, gratitude, right? It's like we're energetically adding a point to whatever it is we're paying attention to in that kind of to your kids, to your husband, to your cats. It doesn't matter, right? When you speak nicely to your plants, they do better,
Mhm.
right? Even there's that water experiment. Like if you speak nicely to your water and then you freeze it, you get these beautiful crystals. And if you say terrible things, and it's like we're mostly made out of water, right? And then the law of decrease is diminishment, disregard, disrespect. There's so many flavors of it. And it's like when you really look at how much the media is teaching us to diminish ourselves and
Mhm.
is just also diminishing us and making problems out of nothing.
Yeah, every time. And the thing is that we don't notice it's happening, but when we look at women that are thinner, when we look If you look at a thin woman, you will instinctually think she's happy, she feels free, she's confident, she's comfortable, she's powerful. Like, especially if she has like this it's aesthetic to her clothing, you just look at the surface and you assume she feels all the things you want to feel simply because she's thinner.
All right. So now that we know some of the ways that this has kind of landed, why it is, why it's like not our fault. What's one thing that people can do to start to unravel that?
I think that the very basic first part is to start observing yourself with no criticism. Like to just get curious about, for example, let's say that you ate dinner. After dinner, you had a stomach ache and you're like, dang, I overate. Instead of letting your mind go crazy and say, here I go again, I ate again, I never can control myself, I have no discipline. Like, just instead, wow, I did overeat a little bit and I'm uncomfortable physically, but like, why did that happen? When you get a little curious, you start saying, well, shit, I was at work all day long. I did not eat because I was busy. I ignored myself till I was starving. And then it felt so urgent that I had to eat it quickly. So the overeating literally had nothing to do with you or who you are. It had to do with your day being set up in a way that you ignored yourself from start to finish.
Yeah. All right. I feel like that's easy because you know what's interesting is I'm going to just talk about this as a parallel to money real quick. So one of the things that I've been noticing, so 2024, 2025, I started to do some work, a lot of work actually on my nervous system. And so much of nervous system is just making sure that your body is like knowing that she's safe. So things like eating, drinking, peeing when it's time, having warm socks, like getting up from your computer. Cause it's like if you're sitting still and focused all day, your body's kind of like, you might as well be a sniper. Your body doesn't really feel super great about that. And tuning into that is one of the more advanced keys to like wealth creation, right? Because it's like all of what you just talked about is straight survival mode. And it's funny that when you're in survival mode, obviously your body's going to want to hang on to that extra anyhow, because it's like basically we're at threat of literally dying. You only got to eat once today. Well, we don't even know what's coming tomorrow. You know what I mean?
And then on a physiological level, when that happens, like your body is so used to the up and down and the roller coaster that it is constantly preparing for famine, constantly preparing for stress. So even when there are a lot of people that eat a whole lot less, I'm going to restrict all my calories, I'm going to get it down low. And then your body's like, I can't survive like this. I need to hold on to as much fat as possible because I'm going to keep you alive, whether you like it or not. So, right, like your body knows what it wants and needs. It's your mind that keeps sabotaging your results. Like you're cutting your calories back so far that your body has no choice but to hold on to the thing that you're trying to let go of.
I remember one of the times I did Weight Watchers. Has anybody ever done Weight Watchers? All right. Which I feel like is, if you're doing it well, is like a decent program. There's, whatever. One time I was doing it and I got down to 16 points, and this was a long time ago. They're not doing points the same way. So, but at 16 points, I couldn't think. I couldn't function. I like literally was hungry all day, all night. I had to stop. I was like, I can't live like this. This is terrible. And then I gained all my weight back.
Yeah.
Fucking annoying.
Like that literally sets you up for obsession. Like I need to plan what I'm going to have for breakfast. I need to eat it and stay in my point range. I need to make sure that I save points for lunch and dinner. I can't snack in between, even if I'm hungry, because I know, or, I have to have very, very low point snacks. It just makes you completely dependent on the plan. And like every other diet, really, they work temporarily, right? They do. That's why people keep going back to them, because you get convinced that this thing is going to help me. But they work because they keep you dependent on that plan for that moment in time, completely disconnect you from yourself. It could never be I'm eating because I'm hungry. It's I'm eating because my plan says I need to eat between 9 and 10 a.m. and I need to eat a certain amount. It doesn't matter if it filled me up. It doesn't matter if I'm comfortable. It doesn't matter if I'm still starving when I finish that itty bitty little meal. I'm not allowed to have more. So one, you're disconnected. But then the other thing is that dieting and diet culture in itself removes all joy and pleasure from your food. And the fact is that we love food because the shit is delicious. We're not flawed. We're not like weak. It's delicious. So that's why we enjoy it. But when every time you take a bite, you feel more shame and more guilt, you have no joy and pleasure. Therefore, you're constantly restricting and binging and feeling like shit because there's nothing fun about the experience of eating.
All right. So after somebody starts to observe and they start to watch themselves with no criticism, then what do we do?
You have to start there with then dismantling. And you start doing little things like, instead of saying to yourself, I have a goal that I want to reach and there's a bunch of stuff I'm going to cut out so that I can reach it. Instead, say to yourself, what can I put into my day that is manageable? What are things that I can do? Like, instead of saying I'm cutting out all my carbs, instead you say, I'm going to add fruit and veggie to my meal. I'm going to, maybe once a day, I'm going to add more fruits and vegetables once a day. I'm going to make sure that I stay hydrated. I give myself what I call 3 daily non-negotiables, and I can tell you mine. I have fruit or veggie with every meal. I drink a ton of water, also because I drink a ton of coffee. And we're not talking about knowing a specific amount of water, just knowing that you don't let yourself get thirsty. When you get thirsty, you're already starting to dehydrate. And then the last one is that I move for 30 minutes every day. It doesn't matter what kind of movement, a slow walk with a podcast or with nothing in my ears at all, because I want to stay more grounded. But for me, every single day, it doesn't matter if I'm home, on vacation, traveling, whatever, I am staying hydrated, adding fruits and vegetables to my meal. I'm taking my walk, and generally, honestly, I'm probably saying a fourth one. I have protein at every meal, but it's not measured. It's not something I have to force. It's not something I have to even think about. These are the things that I'm doing. Just like I'm brushing my teeth every day, it's going to happen. And I don't think about, if I want some M&Ms in the afternoon, okay, did I reach the goals I set for myself? Yes, I did. End of story.
Yes. And I'm going to just tell on myself here. So I used to play this game where if I wanted a little treat, I would like try to negotiate the treat down. So let's just say I was like, I want a couple Oreos. Then I'd be like, all right, well, I'm not doing Oreos, so then I'll do this other thing and I'd like have like a chocolate flavored yogurt or something. And then that obviously does not scratch the itch that like an Oreo would scratch. And so then I'm like, all right, well, let me just try like a little, like I'll have a few little tiny handful of chocolate chips. And then it's like, okay, and does that scratch the itch? No, that's slightly, I mean, a handful of chocolate chips is sometimes very satisfying, but you guys are with me. And then I would end up like doing like 3 things and I'm like, I should have just had the Oreos. I would have been happy. And now I ate all these things I didn't even want. And am I the only one? I hope I'm not the only one.
And you're like, and then I really still want the Oreo.
Yeah. And then you still want the Oreo. And now you're like, what was that yogurt about?
It's funny that you brought up Oreos, because Oreos used to be my downfall. Like, I want you to think about, what was it called? When Shonda Rhimes had like Grey's Anatomy and Scandal on the Thursdays.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know.
It was a thing. So at that time, I was a teacher and we would just DVR it so we could watch it on the weekend. But let me tell you, Friday night would come, Armin and I would open up a big bag of Oreos. You know, it has like 3 rows in it.
Yeah.
A couple of bottles of wine. And those Oreos would be gone in one sitting between the two of us. And I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it.
Oreos.
A lot of Oreos. But I would sit there and just like devour them. And every bite was like, oh my God, these are good, but I got to get them out of the house. Oh my God, these are delicious, but I have to get rid of them so that I don't just eat all. If I have Oreos in the house all the time, that's all I'm going to eat, which is a total lie. So one of the greatest tricks that I ever learned was to literally plan to have Oreos after lunch and dinner. So I think one of the greatest things that we could do for ourselves is to stop focusing so hard on what we eat and spend some time on looking at how we eat. So like, let's say I have my salad with chicken for lunch, which I love salad with chicken with some chickpeas and roasted peppers, chef's kiss. But then I'm going to say to myself, I'm going to put 2 Oreos for after my lunch or whenever I want them. The difference is now you eat with some intention. Bite into the Oreo, right? Bite into it. Don't just put the whole thing in your mouth, and get real intentional. What's happening in my mouth? Like, first I felt this crunch and I can taste that chocolate. But the more that I chew, it's a little creamy. I can actually feel the graininess of the sugar in the cream. And then by the time I'm chewing for a little bit, I can feel it all blending together. And now I have that real cookies and cream flavor that I love so much, right? And you do that with every bite. Like, just enjoy the process of it, because now you're rewiring yourself to sense some joy and pleasure around the food. And when the negative comment pops up, I shouldn't be eating this, like, acknowledge it. I see you here. You're visiting again, but I don't really need you right now. I'm enjoying my Oreos. And you take another bite, right? So when the Oreo's done, give yourself 10 minutes. If you say to yourself, I really want another one, have another one. Be intentional. And what I found was, honestly, it took me 4 days. Within 4 days of having Oreos after lunch and dinner, I was like, oh, maybe I can have an Oreo if I want it, but I don't really even want it. It was never the Oreo that I wanted. It was permission to
It was
have.
the bad girl feeling that like
Yeah.
sometimes we like to be rebels even against ourselves, and that little part of us, I don't know, sometimes I make rules just to break them. Is that fucked up? But that's I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, so now if you think about that little rebel, because I do feel like we all have that in us. Like we just want to throw up the middle fingers to whoever's telling us what we can and can't do. Like, isn't that what falling in love with yourself does? Double middle fingers to the whole system that wants you not doing that. Like, I feel like every time I look in the mirror now, Evelyn in the past used to cringe. Like, I would hold my cheeks back and be like, oh, your face is so round. Or I would mock my lips because they're a little bit crooked. Now, like, I'll look in the mirror and be like, give a little winky wink, like a little flirty flirt. And I feel like every time I look at myself and pour a little love into me, it's a double middle finger to anybody who doesn't want me to feel that.
Yeah. All right. Love that. All right. So I love that you mentioned how we eat. And it's funny. So in my Find Your Bleed course, which is a little course on intentional spending, it's kind of the same thing. It's like that constant grazing spending, like when we're spending like a lot of transactions, small amounts, that's like the easiest way to overspend. If you spend in bigger amounts less often, it creates so much more intentionality, because it's like if you're spending $10, you don't really have to think about it. But if you're spending $200, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, do I really value this? So kind of like what you're saying, it's like if you plan to enjoy it and you do it on purpose, then you bring that same level of awareness. And that's the place where the power is. That's the place where you have to make the choice.
I think there's another layer too. Now, when you get into the part of trusting yourself, like when we're thirsty, there's no negative story in our mind about picking up water and drinking it, right? I'm thirsty, let me drink water. I drink a lot of water, now I need to use the bathroom. You don't shame yourself for having to go to the bathroom. You don't shame yourself for wanting to go to sleep at night. So like your basic needs, thirst, using the bathroom, sleep, you don't have guilt around that. But we haven't been taught that. That's why. We've been taught to ignore ourselves with food. So like we'll have, oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty, let me get some water. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, let me go to bed. Oh my gosh, I need to use the bathroom, let me go to the bathroom. Oh my gosh, I'm hungry, maybe I should just chew some gum. Maybe I should just grab another cup of coffee. Maybe I'm not hungry, maybe I'm just thirsty, right? So all of our basic needs, our body's screaming, this is what I need, but it's only around food that we say, I don't really think that's it. I don't really think that's it, right? So there's this level of self-trust that you have to develop. And I think that being able to look at your daily life and point out to yourself all the ways you do show up for yourself, all the ways you do care for yourself, is just a little reminder that you are trustworthy and you can trust yourself. You just kind of have to rebuild that muscle because you were taught to ignore it.
Yeah. And self-trust, if you want to build wealth, self-trust is also, it's critical. It's like it's very, very difficult to amass any level of having this with low self-trust. Like it's possible, but it's very, very difficult. And what I notice with people who trust themselves, if money comes in, they're able to hold it for a minute, make decisions, spend it where it needs to go, invest it where they want to invest it. But people who don't trust themselves when money comes in, just like you were like, I have to get rid of these Oreos because I don't trust myself with it. The same thing happens with money. And the people will say to me, I have to spend this money on something good before I blow it. It's the same. There's a lot of parallels between, because spending is also a flavor of consumption. So there's a lot of parallels between financial consumption and just like physical consumption, like food, So juicy. All right. So we talked about the observer, becoming the gentle observer, the sweet observer who's not like, shit talking yourself, learning the intentionality. Are there anything else that's really key to starting to make some shifts?
Yeah. I mean, I think starting there is like the priority, right? Like that awareness, that lack of reducing the criticism, just seeing your behaviors as data. I think you start there because I think when you start trying to layer on too much, you slip instantly back into, I need to do something to control myself. In the long run, like macronutrients are important. Your body needs protein. Your body needs fiber. Your body needs water. Yes, your body needs carbs. Those things are all important, but you'll never be able to sustainably eat for health if your mind is constantly stuck in shame and guilt, restrict and binge mode. So I think attacking the thoughts first is the priority.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. All right. Any tips on how to rewire a belief? How to like, what would you say? You said something that I thought was so good. Just like acknowledging the belief. Oh, you're there.
Yeah.
I don't really have time for you right now.
Yeah, I do that all the time. And I think that's exactly it, is the acknowledgement, because really the thoughts that we have that consistently come back over and over again, it's just because we've been ignoring them. Our thoughts, think of your thoughts and your beliefs like toddlers. They are not going away until you pay the hell attention. Mommy, 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 mommy. Look at my drawing. Look what I did. Watch me spin in circles. They're not going away until you look. So your thoughts are the same way. When they pop up, like that awareness is, oh, I see you there. I see you. I'm going to give you an example because I know that's kind of conceptual, and when it's more tangible, it's easier to digest. I grew up in a household where I was very loved, but not necessarily seen, right? Like definitely physically cared for, and emotionally, there wasn't a whole lot of time for that. So I learned very early that what I needed wasn't important. I learned very early that I was dramatic. I was too needy. And I started to tell myself this story that nobody wants to take care of me. Nobody cares how I feel. And this was literally just 2 years ago. I'm doing dishes in the kitchen, and Armand, my husband's on the couch. The girls are on the couch with him, and I'm cleaning up after dinner. And I'm cleaning up like, you ever do like that pissed off cleanup?
Oh, the rage clean?
Yeah,
the rage clean where you're slamming things and you're
I was rage cleaning the kitchen.
Everybody's rage cleaned. We're all secret rage cleaners from time to time.
But what I recognized was I'm doing the dishes and I'm like irritated and I'm looking over at them and I'm giving them the evil eye. And then I could hear my mind say, see, nobody cares what you're feeling. Nobody cares that you're exhausted. Nobody cares what you need. And in that second, I had to say, oh my God, there it is. I see you. You came back to haunt me. And then now I could relax and do the dishes a little bit more calmly and say to myself, that's not true. Every day, Armand shows, if there's no gas in my car, guess who's going to the gas station? If he gets in bed before me, what does he do? Roll over so that my side of the bed is warmer for when I get in it. If he wakes up in the morning, he makes my cup of coffee before he leaves to work, or at least starts the coffee. There is evidence about how my needs are being taken care of. There is evidence about how cared for and loved I am. It was just a story that I was attached to. So in that moment, I could, 1, acknowledge it, 2, tell it to go away, and 3, recognize all the ways that I am cared for so that I could then rewrite that story and be able to ask for what I need directly without, an attack.
Yes, and I just want to point something out here for the listeners. So she noticed that thought pattern by the resentment and like the rage cleaning, right? So she felt the feeling and then was able to kind of like be like, "Oh, where's this coming from? Like I'm just here washing the dishes. Nothing has transpired to cause a massive amount of rage like today, but somehow that story from the past like swirling there, and now all of a sudden she's got all these hard feelings." And I just want to just kind of tie that together, because I think for me, seeing those two things together was such a big deal. And like my money work, my personal development, my relationship with food. Because sometimes when you're just feeling away, your mind will instinctively go to like, oh, you're feeling this way. Well, how come? And then you like reinforce the story by finding new evidence, and maybe you like low grade made up the new evidence. Like that was, like maybe like I like a low grade made things up, or I was like looking so hard for, evidence for why I was feeling that way that I was kind of like just making up new like not making up, but like just making mountains out of molehills and bothering myself.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I am not religious, but I am very spiritual. And one of the things that helps me so much is recognizing that our thoughts, our beliefs, patterns, those come from the things we learn. Those sit in our mind, right? But God talks to us, for me, through our bodies. When I'm making a decision and it feels good, right? Like I feel my shoulders raise up a little bit. I feel calm in my spirit. I know that is a good decision. When I'm trying to make a decision and it feels like my stomach is a little bit in knots, my shoulders are tense, my body is telling me this is not what I want for myself. So I think one of the things that I have mastered is getting into my body. When I want to make a decision, I try like hell to quiet what's happening up here and feel it, like, where am I feeling this in my body? Are my shoulders tight? Is my chest tight? Does my stomach hurt? Do I feel calm? Do I feel at peace? Like, making decisions from a place of connecting with myself takes power away from like the thoughts and the judgments and the stories that were all placed there.
Yeah, and when we have too much energy in the mind, man, she just makes problems, obstacles, delays. Too much energy in the mind is she's going to be making up some fuckery. Like, that's just the way an overfunded mind is. They're problematic because she's always just worried about making sure you stay alive. So she's bringing up problems, survival problems that have nothing to even do with your life. What I notice.
Right? And it's familiar, and what's familiar feels safe. So even when it's wrong and it doesn't feel good, if it's familiar, your body's like, yeah, let's do that. I know that thing.
Ah, love it, love it. All right. Well, where should people look for you? Where will they find you?
On Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, it's just my name, Evelyn Levasseur. Instagram, it's Evelyn Levasseur. Or you can check out evelynlevasseur.com for all the fun things. And then on all streaming sites, the Minding Mind podcast is available too.
Say that again, Minding Mind?
Yeah, Minding Mind. It's a play on the words mind your business, but really it means if it doesn't align with what my body and my heart desire, I don't want it. It's not mine. Judgment, criticism, I don't want it.
Good. All right. So all of that will be in the show notes. So we'll link you up so that way you could find her. Also, if we're friends on Facebook, you could just do a search, Evelyn Levasseur. Evelyn has been a dear friend of mine for many, many years. So you could, if you're doing it in the friendly internet stock way, if you go to mine, you could find her there. Beautiful. All right. Well, any last little wrap ups, tidbits? Things for the people?
I guess I want to just say that you spent so much of your life not seeing you, and there's something so freeing that makes you see in color differently, that makes you show up differently, that makes you wake up grateful when you start to learn to love you a little bit more. So I wish that for everybody.
Yeah, me too. All right, everyone. Well, I will talk to you next week. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate you, and bye.